guys. So tonight my special guest is Paul,
Hello.
aka King. I call him King, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But tonight we are working with discovering and learning about our animal spirit guides.
I'm excited about this. I've never delved into this before. This is going to be fun.
This is so fun for me. Okay, so join us.
All right. We're back.
Okay, so I didn't do the normal live before to prep everybody.
Oh, yeah, you didn't, did you?
No, last time we did the eye dance.
So all of you that are on, we are excited to have you here.
Yeah. So today, before we get into the animal guides and the spirit guides, so I want to let everybody know that there's a lot of different levels to this. I discovered how to do this and kind of the benefits of it. One of the first things that helped me get into the spiritual side was the animals and the animal guides and things like that, and then working with the natives. So, but what I would love to do first is introduce Paul. So this is Paul Jessop, and he's been, how long have we been friends? Like a year and a half?
Yeah. A
year and a half, but if anybody knows how this stuff works, it's like a lifetime.
Yeah.
Or a couple
Or
lifetimes.
more, yeah.
Exactly. So what I have brought him on, Paul's got a lot of unique gifts in the spiritual and animal connection as it is, and something that I would love for him to share is we've worked together, and he helped me through some serious time. Like, he supported me through a lot of financial, like, just crashes happening. And during that time, I also did my work and helped bring some clarity to some of his wild, unique gifts that he's got. And so I would love for you to just maybe share some of your experiences at the ranch with me, and then how maybe that's awoke you into really bringing some clarity into your own gifts and what you noticed.
Sounds good. The first time I saw Ruth, it was on a Facebook video, actually. I'd never seen her before, and I was just struck with this sense of familiarity, like we've known each other from a long time before. Mm-hmm. And
that was with the Purge, right?
Yeah, that was with the Purge.
So we were both going to a huge event.
Yeah. So I kept an eye.
A clearing event.
The event was called The Purge.
The event was called The Purge, and it was with Christopher John Stubbs, and yeah.
And it was quite something. I mean, I just knew that we were going to be friends, and it was amazing what we actually went through and how we connected in that way. And so when I had the opportunity to finally go out to Ruth's ranch, it was actually quite incredible, because I'm a person that I feel energy a lot. I feel what's going on around me in a pretty big area, and I had never connected in with animals, and so it was just absolutely amazing to step in with Ruth's horses and let her do her thing, and basically guide me in what to connect in with. And it just felt like it just came so natural to feel it. And then it reached a profound level as the horses did their things and moved around, and they all kind of have a sense of her personality with them.
I've trained most of them.
You rubbed off on him. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before he continues, comment if you notice vibrations and feelings, or if you resonate with Paul and some of how he started recognizing his gifts and how he feels and senses things. Let us know how you feel and sense things also. Thank you.
Yeah. So I feel a lot of energetic sensations in the heart and up in the collarbone areas, and a lot with my hands. And so being with her horses and following her guidance, it opened me up, and it was profound to feel the energetic connection, allowing those horses allowing that into me, and the vibration of those horses, and connecting in with their heartbeat and energetic vibrations. It just lifted such weight and emotion off of my basically through the collarbone area and up above the heart, and it was just amazing. And it's really unique, actually. We've all been around animals, most all of us, especially anybody who's watching Ruth's shows here. So we've been around animals, but to allow myself to step in with her guidance and her leading through that, it just really opened up a new level for me that I'm still benefiting from today. I went and worked with horses over the weekend, and this very day I went out onto and meditated by the Provo River, and what I learned with Ruth has allowed me to open up myself way more fully to the energy, the life force that's all around us, wherever we are. And you can pick it up in nature, you can pick it up in connecting in with the horses, with the animals.
Definitely.
With dogs, everything.
So I think we all can naturally kind of feel that on our own in nature and with animals, but Ruth adds a different element to it. Can you kind of put that to words a little bit? Yeah,
so what Ruth does, so plug your ears, we're going to brag about you now. So I really enjoy it because Ruth basically has a perspective, and she's multiple steps ahead of the situation. She's all around it in her perception, but she will allow the experience to start coming out of you. She will watch your emotions. She will connect in to you, into your spirit, let's put it that way, and check on your vocabulary as well. And so she's watching these things develop. So she's a few steps ahead, maybe a lot of steps ahead, and she derives a lot of pleasure and joy from watching people's lights turn on. It's beautiful.
So it says you're ahead. What does that mean to you?
So for me, when I'm working and facilitating,
yeah.
Before any time anybody's going to step into my presence or anything like that, I start actually getting messages about this person, and I start getting feelings, and I don't necessarily know exactly everything that's going on, but energetically I know what's happening either in their body, in their mind, in their heart. And also I'm also given the opportunity to discover their gifts. And then so the steps ahead for me is seeing what parts are being recognized and what parts are still in that like as he was saying, the language part, like just trying to figure out what it is, because we all have so much programming that we blame it on something else, or we say it's because of, right? Or we're shunned, and so we're nervous to express that as that, right? Or why would it be that? It's so long ago, right? And so for me, I have the ability to be able to step in and just, in a sense, guide, and let the epiphanies come with some clean language to then bring it forth, if that makes sense.
So you can kind of see their power through the resistance that they have.
Yes. Yes, and then it goes a little bit further than that. So like with Paul, right? So when I'm facilitating, just like readings, just like working with anybody, there's a certain amount that gets to be presented at each level that of awareness, right? Because it doesn't do any good to discuss something that's not going to resonate. Right. Right? You might just re-trigger trauma even more.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where coming in and discovering, so like some of Paul's gifts, what I was actually taught with Paul was that he's so naturally gifted and so naturally connected that I literally almost had to step out and hold a space for exploration. And then when I discovered he was exploring freely without judging himself, then that was the yes, right? Yes.
Yeah, move forward.
And when it was like kind of like, right, then that's where we brought a little more clarity in, or the horses came in and shifted something.
Because really only he can shift himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the point I wanted to make too is that you are able to allow, if people will connect in with your horses and how they're trained, that will carry the movement. That tremendous power where someone can, sometimes you can over-verbalize things, in a therapy setting.
Right.
And with those beautiful horses, and you link in with them in that way, you can get some nudging and adjusting, but you can receive a lot of information for yourself. You can allow a lot of post-trauma or sadness or those kinds of things to release.
Yes.
And let it go, and let those horses take that. And it's really incredible.
And that is true. So talk therapy is outdated.
Right.
And so whether I'm on a show like this or whether we're working with horses, that allowance of still experiential learning is huge, because like that we all have our gifts inside of us, and we all know for ourselves what is actually the best. It's just a matter of discovering and exploring and becoming authentic and real with yourself, so that you understand how to trust yourself. And with the animals, and that's where, like, we'll get into the spirit guides in just a minute, but the animals help when, let's say, the human interaction is not able to either translate it, or there's something where it doesn't want to be brought up publicly or outright. It doesn't need to be discussed, but the horses understand what's happening, or the animals understand what's happening. And then it's like that animal communication dialogue, whether you want to admit that you're talking with this animal or not. Once you connect in with them, there is a dialogue that happens, and it's like you are allowing this openness to let them come in and you come into their space, and it's just this beautiful interaction of support and clearing and authentic, right? Because you can't lie to the animals.
Right.
They'll call you out. That's when like, everybody's like, oh, I'm stressed out, so I can't be around the horses or something like that. And it's like, good luck with that. Like, I've gone out there screaming my head off, throwing things, pissed off like no other. And they all just come and hug me, right? Like, it's all right, Mom, right?
Huh.
But it was because I wasn't lying to myself.
Right.
I was being real in allowing that transition. And so that's something, like, I've loved with Paul, is he's just up-leveled and up-leveled and up-leveled and expressed, and he helps support and helps the work at the ranch. And by the way, if any of you guys come on some of my retreats, you'll be able to meet Paul and experience him firsthand, because he's brought a lot of support in some of our really, trauma experiences.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. Do we have so let's have some messages. I don't see anybody coming up on the screen.
Just waiting for the cue.
Oh, yeah, we can just see all them. Oh, now we get to lean forward.
I know.
Melanie
Brown, the calm energy or crazy energy of people, place.
That's what you experience. Yeah, see, a lot of people do check in with that energy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how animals work too. So Nicole, I sense energy through emotions.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. And Melanie, yes, I sense the energy in places. Okay.
I relate with that. Wow.
Energetic vortexes.
So talk about that just for a minute. So we're going to go to Melanie's, where she's expressing energy in places. Paul, you're like... You can see Paul experiencing the energy in places.
Okay. Well, I'll talk about one experience, one particular. So, Ruth and I and a friend of hers, we wanted to go check out a rock shop. And Ruth just walks in and marches in and starts checking everything out, and Lexi too. And
yeah, Lexi was with on this, bless her heart.
Yeah, and I walked in and I just start wobbling. I am just wobbling. I am so affected by crystals and the energy of gemstones like that.
Yeah, put some if you've actually experienced the energy from crystals or gems or the atmosphere.
Yeah, and I can really be hit by a crowd of people that I'm not real comfortable with. Like I'm learning to just honor myself in it. Like I've gone uptown to park and I'll sit there for a second and I'm just like, wow, I don't like this. So I'll move and I'm like, okay, I don't understand it, but I like it, and this is where it's gonna go.
It's all about trusting yourself.
Yeah. And I carry a lot of tools in my vehicle too, so it really comes in. I'm just like, I and my stuff are not safe right now.
So he's wobbling, right? And I looked at my friend, and she might be on here, but I won't say who it is. And anyway, I like how Lexi and I are laughing, right?
Yeah.
Because they're both like, and Paul's like wandering over to a corner and finding the tourmaline and stuff like that, right? To start grounding himself.
Get the tourmaline.
And then she's like, and I'm like, you're right? And she's like, And then Paul's like watching this whole thing, right? And I'm like, holy crap, because all of this in the beginning for me, in discovering what all of this stuff is and how translation happens for you, it can be weird, you know? You can actually literally be like, I've got a defect that the doctors need to fix, right? Mm-hmm. When it's just the energy hitting you differently. But I like Lexi, oh my gosh, is that what I used to look like when I get that way? And she's like, yeah. And we're like staring at her, and she's like, right, like all zoning out and everything. And next thing you know, Paul comes over. What'd you do? You like handed her a big old rock.
I did. I handed her a big chunk of tourmaline because I know what will ground. I know a lot of. You start discovering what works for you. Yeah,
and if you guys have seen a lot of my jewelry, I don't even have. How does that happen? I'm always wearing your jewelry, and I don't even have one of his on.
That's okay.
That was weird. Okay, so. A lot of my necklaces that y'all have liked and enjoyed, Paul actually made for me. And, yeah.
Huh.
So go, like, tell them a little bit of how you work with your jewels.
Okay, so I basically can feel the stone and what it feels like. I can feel if a part of it has more of a grounding feeling. I can feel if it has more of a kind of an energy that comes from higher and down, and it feels faster. I take magnets and kind of put them together with it, and then I know Ruth is so sensitive to all of it that when I was making them more often before, and I'm like, okay, see what this does to you, see what that does to you.
Yeah.
Because she can really tap into that really well. Some of the stuff she likes that I've made, it doesn't really work for me.
Right.
With it, but it works for her. And so it's just something that I enjoy, and I get more in touch with it the more I do it.
And so everybody's different. So you guys out there, if you have certain gems or certain stones that affect you, let us know what those are. I'd love to hear.
Definitely.
That's really interesting because I see a lot of people wearing quartz crystal and things like that, and I can see that I'm just like, that's not working for you. That's too it's vibrating too fast and too high, and it's ungrounding. Where a lot of people might like stuff that kind of gets slower.
But it's pretty, Paul.
Yeah, it's cool.
It just itches, and I feel weird. I don't know what's going on.
All we do for fashion.
Yeah.
The true definition of fashion.
It is. This goes into why I also brought him on for, say, this show with the animal guides and stuff like that, is because Paul works like an animal in the beginning. So he comes into your space, or if you are able to get into his space, okay? Because sometimes if you're not right, then Paul just kind of wanders off, right? And you don't see Paul until Paul comes back, right? Or else, like for me, he'll hug me and be like, it's not right now, right? And he's like, I'm just going to check out for a little bit. I'm like, cool, right? Because we've had some huge events that we've been to.
Right.
And so he reminds me of how my animals work, because they communicate energetically, right?
Right.
And then after you're connected in and you're open to it, then it's like you hear them after that. And with him, when you're open to him and his message, or what he can bring to move some energy for you, that's when Paul will come out of the introvert and start communicating. So if Paul talks to you in public, I would feel good about yourself.
This is so funny. That's great. I appreciate that. I work like an animal.
Yeah,
I know, right? I like that.
You're
Works like an animal.
Yeah.
I love you.
No wonder Ruth likes it.
That's what it is.
Exactly. So I'm going to kind of go into a little bit. Do you have anything else you want to mention, or you want to roll into a little bit? We'll have Paul on the show again, too, in the future. But is there anything you're feeling into at the moment?
One thought I had was just one thought: allowance. Get into the space of allowance. Even everyone that has their own pets, a little bit of give those horses a little bit of respect and allow the feeling. Don't just feel like you have to be in command with all of it all the time. So I'm not a horseman or anything like that, but I do tap into it and see how they love to be appreciated. Mm-hmm. So that's the one thought that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a Paul sighting in the studio.
Paul's talking to you guys.
So I'd love to hear what you guys think Ruth means by Paul has that animal. The animal work? Is that what he works like an animal?
He works like an animal.
Tell us how you're feeling about Paul.
How do you feel about Paul and how he works like an animal? If you understand what I mean with that. But as we go on, I love seeing everybody on here. I can kind of see the messages over there. But what I want to talk about is the beginning part of introducing you guys to your spirit animal guides. So some people have heard it as a totem. Some people have heard it as an animal guide or animal power, or people word it differently, right? For me, what I've discovered is because we are part of a whole and everybody has their own unique gifts, some are naturally connected to the animals first. And a lot of you guys that are on here, basically, you can consider that you have a pretty good connection to animals, or you wouldn't have been drawn to this or in this space. And so I would love you to just see what resonates with you. And so Arizona.
Folks, animals are authentic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
see,
good.
Paul?
You are
Yeah,
authentic.
like
That's
an
right.
animal. So anyway, with this, what I've discovered is you have a main one that, let's say if you were to transform into an animal, that would be your animal. You would transform into that. And then, I've got this clip. You guys just let me play with this clip on the show.
Of course.
My habit. Hello, a little fidgety. Anyway, and then we have the ones that support. And those show up when you're in that area that they resonate with and or can help with. And so there's a lot of different dynamics. And on the next show, I'll actually go into more of how to journey and encompass it more. But this one, I really wanted to just introduce stuff that way. So do you have any questions on that or any comment?
No, I'm kind of excited to get into this animal guide stuff.
Good.
To really understand it.
So do you have anything you want to say?
I'm just gonna throw this out. That person that just was on feels very graceful and very fluid.
Arizona?
Arizona. Uh-huh.
Arizona, that's for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty neat. I can't wait to start working with Arizona. So, Aaron, yes, I know what you mean by that. Aaron? The chills. Yeah.
Lindsay says, I always want to hear more about this.
Okay, good. And then Rose, we call her Crazy Aunt Rose. I would love to, learn this and accept.
Or allow it, yeah.
Or allow it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so, Aaron, Paulus.
Some super powerful gifts.
Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to say that if anybody comes to any of my retreats, there is a more than likely chance that you'll experience him. So anyway, I'm going to go into this a little bit more. So when I was I don't know, it's been a while now. I was working with a native medicine man from the Kiowa tribe. And he would come up to people and just express what their animals were that were helping them. And I was like, this is so cool, right? Yeah. And so what he said to me was that I was a wolf. And so I'm actually a black wolf. And there are traits that show in your personality and in your gifts and also in your struggles, right? And so let's say, and then I've had other guides come through. So this is my beautiful main one. And then I've had, the horse is another main one, of course. Couldn't wait to do that one. And then when I was younger, and then part of this year, my tiger showed up a lot. So cats have always been in my life a ton, right? And then of course some birds. So I've had a lot of help and support that way. But so let's take for instance the wolf. They help with, I have a killer sense of smell, right? They have an integrity about them. They support family. They do community, but yet at the same time, they're not afraid to go into that lone wolf discovery and survival. And so there's more to it. And so I want to go into reading a little bit more. And if you guys are curious about what yours is, I'm going to just give you some touch. There's a couple points to this. So one, obviously I can help you directly to who's around you and who's helping you currently. but on your own. Let's say you don't connect with anybody, but you can do this on your own. So what I want everybody to do is I want you to just kind of take a deep breath in and exhale out and kind of shake off the day. And then what I want you to do is take a moment, quiet your mind, and then think of the first animal that shows up. Okay? So, you may have one, you may have a whole bunch start popping up, but we're focusing on the first one. So I want everybody to put in the comments what your first animal that showed up was. So, what was your first one?
A desert tortoise.
Ooh. So I like that a lot. And so we're going to just kind of do like a little mini on him. So the desert tortoise is, so for me, the bear is also showing up for you. And which is really neat because they are both, they work together. Like if you're working with natives, they're both very native animals. So a tortoise also encompasses the mother island, which is ironically the North America, right? And that brings in like original lineage, right? And the beginning, in a sense, of a new creation. And so what I would love to do is, for me, I can go in to a message directly for you that is in the moment right now, or this, to save me time, I will ask them what message gets to come through in the least resistant time, since we have a little bit of time, or not a lot of time, but a little bit of time. And so I have a couple different directions, and so the first thing that shows up is this one. And so which one would you like to, we're going to do the tortoise first. 363, 349. So go ahead and explain what you saw. Like, why did that one?
Well, strangely enough, as soon as we started the show, it showed up, actually. And I remembered back when I lived off and on in St. George, I would run a lot. And I went on, it wasn't even a run, it was a hike. I went on a little hike, and there was a desert tortoise that just kind of showed up. And you know, I walked around, I walked back, and the tortoise had moved just a little bit, but I don't know, I felt a connection to this tortoise. And I really hadn't thought about this in a long time. So it's interesting that it kind of showed back up, and I talked to one of the locals, and they're like, oh, yeah, don't tell anybody about that, because, I don't know, there's something about the laws, or I'm not sure
they're
exactly.
Protected?
Yeah, they're protected. And yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so they're like, yeah, only locals see those, but yeah. I wasn't really a local at the time.
Very nice.
But I popped up then at the beginning of the show, and it popped up again when we started.
So that's excellent. So he's utilizing the ability of what shows up in translation for him. And this is something that we've been working with all of you guys in discovering how the messages come through for you. So not only was it a tortoise that came up, but you also was followed through, like, yes, you're on the right track with a memory. Right? So I want you guys to also feel that too. And so what has shown up, and we're just doing today at this moment, right? Because there's a whole bunch of depth that you can go into this with, but this is what's coming up. So longevity, awakening to the opportunities. And as I do this, I just go where my eyes are drawn to, okay? And that's just the same as like how everybody's been picked, how the memory came through, the first animal that showed up, okay? These are just, trust that first part, because after 5 seconds, then your brain starts kicking in. And that's where resistance comes in. So the turtle was an animal whose magic could help you unite heaven and earth within your own life. If you guys are resonating with this as Nate, I feel like calling you Nathaniel at this moment. So then I want you to let us know what you're sharing with this too. A symbol of the turtle was an invitation for the blessings of both heaven and earth. Skip over that. A man who stops boys from picking on a turtle. That's interesting. That was a tall tale. He chased the boys away to help the turtle get into the water. So for me, that translates, you are not afraid to step in when you know something is not right. Like, you're not afraid. You'll step in integrity. You'll stop the fight. You will help that environment. Can you go in a little bit of that? For some reason, I feel like you get to bring that up for a little bit.
Yeah. I stay away from resistance as much as I can. There are times, though, where I feel like my path of least resistance is actually in that sticking up for a powerful being that perhaps is allowing himself, herself, to be taken advantage of, or stopping themselves in some way. And typically it will manifest in an outward way, where other people or other things are kind of bombarding them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how you brought up the fact that, like, in this instance, it was giving an example of, like, an animal being bullied and then being saved.
Right.
But you also kind of gave an example of that support too, being able to support in multiple areas. So, like, almost like if I was abusing myself, you would recognize that.
Right. Yes, exactly.
And you'd be like that clean, not necessarily fluff and cute motivation, but you'd be that solid ground support.
And to this point, that tortoise that I remember back then, the thought in my head was that tortoise is going to get really dry and hot, and there's water over there. I have a couple of choices, and my choice was simply to allow the tortoise to move itself to the water, because it was already going there. And I could have moved it towards the water, but for several reasons, I could kind of feel the tortoise a little bit fearful, and I could also feel that the tortoise was very resolute. So I was okay with that situation. There may be other situations that I would definitely step into.
So this is a good example for all of us. Just because you think you can help someone and rescue them, understand if that is just you coming in as a hero, or if they're really needing and wanting your help and guidance.
Yeah. As in the case of a butterfly, if you help it out of its cocoon, it doesn't get what it needs.
Right. Bam.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Great. So there's what?
What's up?
Oh, okay. So there's two bears. Oh, big ass.
Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, so I'm going to read one more on the turtle, and then we're going to move on. So,
maybe we should do the bear for those guys.
Yeah, we'll do the bear in just a bit. Okay, so turtles have an amazing survival skill and strategies. They hear well, actually, and are very sensitive to vibrations.
Yes.
And we know, you all know that Nathan works and communicates about vibrations and works in that field continuously. Like, that's him. Yep. So they also sense the vibration in the water through their skin and their shell.
Oh, interesting.
So that is an interesting one.
I like that a lot. Today I was realizing that I have a shell around certain topics, certain things.
Ooh.
And I also realized that those things are a gift to me to understand myself better, to allow better.
Okay, so I love this because Turtle is showing up for him, and we're just going into a little glimpse, right? But Turtle is coming up to remind him of this power that he has, to remind him of this knowledge that he has, and also to show him that he is fully supported in knowing who he is in these areas. So that that coming up and you recognizing that and presenting it to us, that is something that you learned. This is also that moment of you're being fully supported and you're on the right track. You caught it, right? Like Turtle's coming up and just totally showing you, good job, man. You caught it.
Yeah.
And you utilize that. So another one last thing, this is cute. Turtle totems hold the mystery of awakening the senses on both physical and spiritual levels. Turtle stimulates hearing and clairaudience. So type in the comments if you know what clairaudience is. Is anybody? Thumbs up if you know what it is.
There you go. It's harder to see thumbs up.
Yeah. It can help with vision and clairvoyancy. So some of these words are different ways that you see things. It heightens the sense and smell and a higher discrimination. So clairvoyancy is seeing the connection, right? Is seeing that.
Right.
And clairaudience is hearing.
Right.
And so that you have a way of both awakening that in yourself and also awakening that through vibrations in others.
I have to tell you, that's been my journey. Because when I decided to work on myself, I was a composer, world-renowned. I've won a lot of international awards with my music. And I always said it was trial and error. That's it, trial and error. And when I gave that up, I opened myself up to vibrational interpretation and into inspiration. And most of the time, I hear inspiration. It's just. I will actually. After I kind of gave up that fight of it's just logic. It's just this other stuff. I gave up that resistance. I actually one night dreamt a full song and wrote it down. Like I heard it in my head. I was singing it when I woke up, and I wrote it all down. And yeah, it was really weird to me because I had never experienced that before. And since then, not only do I hear music and things like that, but I can actually hear voices, but not in the way you think. I really just hear kind of the eternal part of myself giving me clues and ideas, inspiration.
That's so cool. I'm like finding myself like I so want to hear you play more, and we're gonna have him as a special guest because Nathan's got some incredible people he's worked with and music he's composed and some really amazing things. I was so excited when you were showing me some of your YouTube stuff and like the stuff you've done. Incredible. And so before we move forward, so this is just a beautiful example of how you can tap into discovering what animal is here to support you, and sometimes that is just them showing up for a message. So another way is, what animals do you notice? So
I'd like to see if we have comments of people telling us what animals came up for that.
Yes.
Do we have some of those comments?
Yep, let me get you guys back on screen.
Okay, awesome. So let's see who's got an animal here. No,
Horse.
Banff is not an animal. Fox.
Okay.
Horse. Elephant. Frog.
Ooh.
Got more. Panther can't see down
A
past that.
robin, a bird. And so it can be as broad as, say, a turtle, okay? But it can also be as specific as a desert turtle. Or as Rachel said, a bird, but it's showing up as a robin. So the birds have a general message, and then the specifics come into each animal too.
Right.
So like mine is, mine's a black wolf versus a white wolf, right? And there's a little bit more dynamics of why the color comes in, or things like that. And like a fox, right? You can go in. So a fox is a lot of foxes is that they know how to camouflage, right?
Okay.
They know how to utilize themselves, their intellectual, creative, clever part,
Right.
right? And so when you start discovering your totems, you also look on the other side of it, okay? So not just your gifts, right? But also the flip side, the shadows, right? So like me as a wolf, I've got to be careful of being too much of a lone wolf doing it all by myself,
Right.
right? Because I have support, but recognizing that, right? And that's where some of the wolf, like if he comes in really powerful in different ways, it's reminding me of these different things. So
That's who I met.
So
That's,
speaking,
that's
speaking
who
of
I
which,
met, was the lone wolf.
Paul, what is yours?
What comes right up for me the most, and there's 3, but it's not a horse, it's a group of horses.
Huh.
I really feel connected to a group of, oh my gosh, it's actually 7 that just came to me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
and one point too is
7's showing up today, by
Yeah,
the way,
a
and
lot.
we've seen 7
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Wild horses.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, they're wild.
Okay.
But another thing too is synchronicity. Pay attention to synchronicity with your, when you feel like you're connecting with something. Start paying attention to the synchronicities and how they come in. Like when you talked about the tortoise,
Yeah.
it just kind of dawned on me how just before the show I said, we were talking about stuff, and I says your boundaries are really good. You have a really good boundary, and the tortoise has a really
Shell.
good.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, your energetic boundary
Yeah.
energetic boundary is really good, and so you can pick up synchronicities in what you're picking up on, a spirit animal or a totem or.
So another thing to be aware of is like a turtle, a tortoise. Remember to bring that calm pause movement. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
so slow down, right? Don't forget that sometimes the movement matches the process, even though your brain goes faster.
Right.
And so, allowing that steady, solid, grounding movement too, right?
Right.
Because as a totem, right, you can also have these flip sides of remembering different things. So, there was another one. So an interesting thing, I'm going to kind of go on with Paul. So a horse, a lot of the times brings up freedom and passion and also financial stuff.
Oh, good.
And then observing that they do, even horses, and it's funny you bring up synchronicity because horses are a herd working animal, right? And so when they break away, they're more susceptible to danger, and they're almost too keen, right? Because they don't have the support of everybody watching over and supporting themselves. And so for Paul, with his, what I would recommend also is, remember to find your herd and then allow your herd to help you out. Like don't allow yourself to just disappear on your own or else unless you're more susceptible, right? Whether it's real danger or whether it's just your own mind messing with you. I almost dropped the F-bomb right there.
It'll be okay.
Right? And then the number 7, okay?
That was a stutter, right?
It's messing with your head. So number 7, right? Remember your connection to the divine.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool because when I had this experience of connecting with those horses, it was 7 then. I'm just remembering it right now, but I was distinctly aware of it, that it was 7 of them all around my head. So
Wow.
It's so neat. I love it. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we have a caller on, do we? Are you guys ready to take a caller?
Oh yeah, I'm so ready.
Okay.
So ready. I've been waiting all day
I know.
for these callers.
Okay, and for some reason this one came out, so we'll see where that gets to show up. Okay.
She froze. She's been live for a while.
Oh, sorry, girl. Who is with us?
Sarah.
Okay.
She's been live.
Can you hit her audio? See if we have audio.
And
She said she had to leave. Oh.
Yeah, she's in the car.
Okay,
Before
so Sarah, we'll plan another time, okay? Thanks for joining anyway. Next person.
We never did get the other caller showing up, Ruth.
Okay, so we have Christina. If you are still available, Christina needs a passcode. So Christina, I'm going to, everybody's going out. Okay, so what I want you to do, we're not even going to deal with the video today. What we're going to do is give them my number and have them call in. And I'm going to roll through who's watching.
Can I look at the book?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
So so if you are watching, be ready to look for my phone number. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call your name, and you're going to join. You're going to call me, and we're going to give you a reading.
I've trained most
Oh,
of
whoops. I got to turn that off.
Yeah.
I can't see this.
Okay, Sarah received your number, and
Sarah, oh, we got a caller coming in. Okay. Oh, I better unplug this. She's on my phone.
Oh, yeah, we don't even have to hear that.
Okay, who's with us?
Sarah.
Okay, Sarah. Which Sarah are you?
Jessop.
Oh, she made it. Okay,
I was
awesome.
on for like the whole time and then I had to leave.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thanks for calling in, though.
So it's fine.
Okay.
you.
So there's a couple different ways of reading, but this one is the totem and kind of our animal guides. What are you leaning towards for this reading?
When I did the kind of breathing and visualization, I had a brown bear come into my head.
Brown bear. Okay, so this is what I would love to do is, so the brown bear is one of your main ones, okay? And when I'm doing like a quick reading like this, I ask for support, and we had a book show up for you. And so we're going to look up bear. Starts with a B.
There's actually specifically black and brown bears. So.
Yeah. And so I love that you brought up that it's a brown bear. And
Yeah.
so
Do you want bear or brown bear?
So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to read the main bear, since this is really short, and then we're going to go into more specifics. So are you ready?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, you have to move
So
that.
this is just a message for you. This isn't really like what necessarily a bear is all about, but yeah, can you hear us okay, or are you just hearing on the phone?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. All right, so this is bear.
Okay, perfect.
Set clear boundaries and don't compromise even if pressured. Ask for what you want,
Sorry, laughing.
whether or not you feel you'll get it. Get going on that creative project you have in mind. Take some time out from your usual routines and spend time in solitude. You may be in need of physical or emotional healing.
Okay, so that was just the general bear. And now we're going to go into a little bit more specific of what the
Brown bear.
brown bear is telling on addition to this, okay?
Stay grounded no matter what. It's time to bring your dreams and plans to fruition. It's important to trust your instincts. Enough hiding. It's time to come out and meet the world. Don't just wait for something to happen. Take action now.
Wow.
Okay, the first one I was laughing and now I'm crying.
Can you kind of tell us a little bit of what's going on for you?
Yeah, I'm starting a business as a stepmom coach, but I'm also a full-time multiple psychologists, and then at the end of the year, and exhausted and overwhelmed, and I just have so many doubts about my business and about moving forward and quitting my job. And sorry, I'm all emotional now. There's a lot of things. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Yeah, so a lot of that, like moving forward, being creative, I have all these ideas of awesome things that I want to do with my business, but I doubt myself all the time.
So what stood out to
Can you guys
you?
hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
What stood out to you in that advice?
Say it again.
What stood out to you specifically?
What advice are you going to take from your bear that's supporting you and kind of pushing you to cry and celebrate at the same time?
Kind of be bold, and also don't let anything hold me back. Just go for it. It's like my dreams are there for a reason.
Yes.
Be creative and go forward with the projects I have that I want to do.
Yes. So if anybody else had a brown bear showing up for them, then I would love for, I'll post what this message was today. And Sarah, what I would give you homework to do if you want to explore some more, okay, is know that you are fully supported in your decisions that are happening, okay? That's why this bear is coming through so strongly for you. And then also, so the bear is also linked to the stars, okay? Like the big bear, the Big Dipper, right? And stuff like that. And so that, for some reason, that's showing up too. Your connection to the cosmos and the stars, right, above. So remember your connection as you're going through this journey. And know that you are also supported up above and also supported down here on Earth, okay?
That's amazing.
I'm excited for what you're doing.
I know. I would love also for you to give us any little cute, updates, because it might take a minute for some more to come in. But if you feel like it, there are ways to kind of look up some more definitions on maybe what the bear is bringing to you. And then also an additional one that you get to look up is hawk.
Say that one more time.
An additional one for you to look up is hawk.
Hawk. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I'm going to let you do that homework. Unless you want, so what I do is I bring in even more depth of how this connects to your gifts and how to move forward and how to journey and allow them to encompass you even more, okay? Because there's a lot to this. So call me later or message me if there's more that you want to explore with all these animal things, because it's pretty neat that you're connected this much already. Mm-hmm. And we're all rooting for you.
Yeah. Oh, heck
everybody, thumbs up.
Yes,
yeah. We're rooting for you.
Girl boss.
Yeah, thanks for joining. I'm glad you made it on.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night. Okay, so we have Janica.
Janica. All right, now we actually do get to use these.
Okay, so we have a video. Mm-hmm. Isn't it fun?
Yeah. I'm glad she got bear too, because now I can read about my second animal.
That was really cool with her because you drew to her.
Yeah.
Before the show started,
Yeah.
so that was neat.
Glad she could show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was cute that the little bear, that book came out because it's a short definition, right? And for you, it was cool because we got to explore how, like, the totem gifts side of it. So, so thank you, all of our beautiful animals and connection, for giving us multiple dimensions of this.
Fantastic.
And my beautiful wolf.
You're petting behind you.
Okay.
Nice.
Janica. Oh, she's on.
Oh.
Where is she going to
Make
be?
her a little smaller. There we go.
It's funny because when these paws on the ads, right, or
Right.
the heads on the body, so it's funny to see. Okay, Janica.
Make sure to turn on her audio. All right, you there, Janica?
Yes, but I don't know how to turn my
can't hear
audio
her.
on.
No, we can't hear her.
Hold on 1 second.
It might be her end. She's checking.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear
We can see you.
Yeah.
If we might be able to read mouths. Okay.
1 second. I'm gonna.
Stu, do me a favor.
Sure.
Plug in your headphones to the Focusrite and see if we're getting audio there through the headphone jack.
Okay, and as everybody is, as we are waiting for Janica to be able, so we can hear her, if you guys want a little bit more in depth of what your animal is bringing to you, then I'm going to offer a discount on some readings too. So stay tuned towards the end. We're going to finish up here shortly. And I will give you that code to type in and send in too. And then also, you can have an animal coming through, and that is like you get a trust out, right? And
For 2 seconds.
go into that for you. But then also, some of what I do is I also bring in what I see, because for me, what it's like is I actually see you morphing as the animal, and I also see the animals and where they place on you. And sometimes, like say, some people have a hawk, right? And the hawk could be here or the hawk could be here. And depending on where they support the most, also has levels to it, right? You know that, don't you?
Yeah, that's interesting because I feel it come in the build up. The build up of is it gains power or things clear off, and you can you can almost catch a sense of wings coming out. When I've seen that before with someone who had actually a swan was there, and you could actually start to feel it coming off of their fingers and things like that. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love all of that. Do we have her yet on sound? You're doing so. You're so cute, Janica.
Janica, talk for a second.
Ask her to talk, Ruth.
Okay, Janica, say something so we can see if we can hear you.
Hello.
I can hear her.
Oh,
Can you guys
hi.
hear her?
Yeah, I could.
Can you hear her now?
I can kind of hear her.
Okay. Well, we can hear her through there.
Okay, so Janica, were you able to do the exercise before? You didn't have to, but were you able to kind of breathe in and see if something showed up for you? Or
Yeah.
what's your reading that you're wanting?
Well, the first thing that popped up was Black Panther.
Ooh, I almost put that picture up.
Yeah, you did.
She did.
Isn't this cool how it works? This stuff starts coming in already. So what I'm going to do is this book's coming out for you. Okay, so I have a lot of different dimensions. So Black Panther is one of my favorites, just so you know. I'm really, really partial to that one. And can you kind of...
Wakanda.
Janica, will you share with the audience how did you discover Black Panther was the one showing up?
Man, honestly, within the last 2 weeks or so, I've been really questioning intuition, everything. So at first, I was like, really, the Black Panther? But it was literally just like, I saw it, and then the word black came, and I was like, okay, I'm going to freaking go with it, even if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I can feel that one.
Quickly.
Okay, so you had two show up here in the book. So we will go with the Black Panther first, and then the second one that showed up is Jaguar. Okay. So, and you might okay, so Jaguar wants to be read first, this little section, okay? So
Okay, cool.
I want you to just kind of breathe this in. And if anybody's watching, you had Black Panther or a Jaguar, and sometimes this comes into as a cat too. It just depends. But Jaguar for you wants you to say this to yourself. Sacred Jaguar teaches me to wear my power lightly, to walk with impeccability, to approach life with compassion, and to live up to the integrity of my human potential. Can you share with us why that one needed to be stated first and that way?
Basically because the last probably year I've really struggled living to what I have learned who I am and doing it in a way that I'm not afraid of it or worried about what other people think, and basically just being who I know I am and all the work that I put into understanding that.
Yeah.
So that's so neat. A jaguar is a very powerful animal, and she's in a lot of in the Inca's medicine wheel too. Just so you know. So, did you have something to say?
You're fascinating. She personifies that. You can feel that. You can feel how you. I don't know who you are or what you look like really, but you can feel it in your motions, in how you move yourself, and you can embody it even more.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I love it. So you ready for your Black Panther?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to read two things. And then it looks like Nate's getting itchy too, so we'll let him talk. Okay, so Black Panther. Oh, Midnight Jaguar. What? Oh, interesting, right? So they actually say that.
Wait,
Watch
midnight
me.
what?
Jaguar. The midnight. So you had the day and the night, whatever that, right? So light and shadow work, yin and yang, right? You catching this? Okay.
Yep.
Wash me with your courage and still me with your grace, so I may know the value of the void of time and space. Teach me all your lessons, how to face the dark unknown. Then let me bravely leap into the shadows all alone. I'm going to continue on, so just kind of breathe that in for a minute. Black Panther has appeared today. It may be telling you not to worry about the future. Trust that you are not supposed to mentally figure it out at this time. You may need to confront fears of the unknown, of being less than you truly are, or in the inability to simply just be. Let go of fears that appear as obstacles or barriers. Embrace the unknown and flow with the mystery that is unfolding in your life. The next step may be a leap empty-handed into the void with implicit trust. In the stillness of the void, find the will to avoid foolish interruptions. That was for you to hear too, by the way.
Yes, it was. I was
Thanks,
struck right
Janica, for borrowing. And some of y'all that are watching is for you guys too.
Yeah, sure.
Go deeper into your own self-discovery and healing process. Here you will discover a Black Panther's unexpected blessings.
Yeah. Is a panther a jaguar?
Yep.
This is so cool. I love your show.
Because immediately came to my head was black jaguar. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I looked it up, and there is a black jaguar. I'm like, oh, well, maybe that's not the same thing, but it is.
Yes. Yes.
So there's two things that come with this.
So you're getting a bonus. So are you ready for
Yeah,
this?
you're bonusing here.
The boys are getting all excited on yours. It's fun.
So this kind of reiterates kind of what she was talking about. So if your personal and spiritual growth, it's time to face your fears squarely and let them go. Stop worrying about everything, surrender to what is, and let the future take care of itself. But also, express and enjoy your sensuality and your passion in as many ways as possible and as much as you can.
This is why I like the cats.
Yes, right? Meow.
That movement, right? That powerful movement.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just really coming through with you. It just feels like be that, don't think that, be it, and it starts coming through more and more.
Yeah.
Would you like to share anything with us, Janica?
That's crazy because the second one you read, the Black Panther, is literally what I've been going through. I have been sleeping a ton, and I know what's in the future, but I typically have been able to see it, but I can't see it, and it's freaking me out, but I can feel it. And so I've been told over and over again by the lady that I work constantly with energetically, she was like, learn to be in the rest and to just be. And it's tried me huge, and it's freaked me out because I'm not used to not seeing.
Oh. Yep.
So, yeah.
Good. So you when these animals show up for you with their specific message, right? This is a specific message for you at this time, and you're recognizing that. But also remember that, so Jaguar on the flip side, she always shows up as an example versus a controlled leader, right? So she's a leader that helps and gets in and helps by example, but no one messes with her because she knows her own power, right? They all just either love her or they leave her. Does that make sense? And and she's also really good at tracking. So tell me for a second, when I say tracking, what does that come up for you?
You mean tracking in like the animal sense?
Whatever's showing up for you right now. When I say she's really good at tracking.
Okay, for me, it's kind of like being the observer, but so like watching and learning, but not necessarily being actively involved. Yeah, that's kind of.
So that's excellent, and I like this is part of the facilitation part, because as much as that's coming through for all of us, and even everybody watching, you guys are all going to start connecting in. And so what you notice, what happened is Janica went from her energetic right brain to her logical right brain left, and that's why it's kind of like, what do I find the words for, right? But you knew what you were feeling. It was just translating it. And so tracking is also what like facilitators do, right? You're seeing the patterns. You're noticing the behavior. Doesn't mean, like you said, doesn't mean you're stepping in and fixing it for them, but you're noticing that direction of where is this coming from, what's happening there, right? Both in your own life and then the people that you are going to be facilitating or are already facilitating with. And for some reason, this is coming through too. The horse is popping in to remind you of your finances. Don't forget to track your finances.
Yep.
She's like, hey, don't forget. In order to play free and travel, you gotta, taxes and show stuff, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's your pony coming through.
Yep.
So anyway, is there anything else that you guys want to say, or we good?
It's good.
I love the fact that the first word she said was observer, and then she tried to figure out a way to explain what an observer was. And I think we all kind of understood what the observer was, but she wanted to really identify that for everyone else. And I think standing in your power and not caring what other people think is going to be the best tool that you have. Just stand in your power. It does not matter if anyone else understands you. Stand in your power.
Yeah,
Very much. That's that integrity. That's the impeccable integrity, right? And for everybody else, this is a message because Janica's really brought up a lot. Both Sarah and Janica have brought up a lot for our messages, everybody's messages that's on this. And so all of you are being recognized, especially you, Janica, because this came up, but everybody watching right now is being recognized with the Jaguars for having that impeccability when you could have used it in another way. And so I want you guys to just kind of breathe that in, because if you are on this show at this moment watching, this is a message for all of you guys. Okay, Jaguar is coming through, Black Panther's coming through, because you have stood in integrity. Whether you just didn't say something when you know you could have, that could have just ripped them up, right? Or you just stayed in integrity in a situation that helped the whole, and just being versus like grabbing in and manipulating it how you could have. So congratulations, everybody. You all are being acknowledged, including me. And you might have a moment that's showing up directly in your mind. And that's it, right? That's what it is. So anyway, Janica, I love that you came on, and it's been really cool having you here. Thanks for being open and brave for everybody to see.
Yeah,
So we
you.
love you.
You're a powerful person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love you
Cool.
too.
So anyway, I think that we'll call that good for the callers since it's 7. We kind of played a little longer again.
I've had fun tonight.
So I'm going to take these out.
Yep.
Okay, and so if anybody is wanting a little bit more on your animals, I noticed that a couple of people put in, or a bunch of people actually put in the animals that showed up for you. But if you want a little bit more elaborate definition on some of this stuff as to maybe what direction to take this in, or how they are embracing you with an extra power, then message me. So today.
So do these change, by the way? I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about messages for today.
Right.
But if you're thinking of an animal today, can it change through time or depending?
Yes. And that's where like a constant for me is a wolf, right? But she'll take a step back. Right, and let another animal come through. And so like if you're noticing, so for me right now, my hawks are playing with me, giving me feathers and all kinds, like literally, right?
Yep.
And so the hawks are embracing me with that knowledge. And the hawks, for me, what they're reminding me to do is like my aim is accurate. Just remember to kind of pull out and see the bigger picture of what you actually want to aim at, right? And so that's what they're like. Remember to focus, Ruth, but focus on what you want. And so that's what the hawks are really embracing me right now with, and helping me with. So yeah, so they change, and notice that too.
But your overall animal does not.
No, your overall animal is like you. Like if you were going to turn into an animal.
Right.
And that's where you really want to learn both the positive gifts and like the shadow side of how to help yourself, because they might show up in a way of like you don't recognize you're doing this pattern, but understanding that an animal does that in their life might all of a sudden click in. Oh my gosh, I'm doing that, right? Like sometimes, although you're very motivated, right, a turtle can tend to be, it's reminding you to be slow, but also sometimes they are slow. Right? Like, you know, you might be chilling when you should know you should be taking action.
Right.
Does that make sense? And then also, you know, the flip side. And so just discover some of that stuff, right? So like an eagle, this one's showing up. So whoever has an eagle kind of coming through. So eagles, they're excellent connectors to both up and down and ancient wisdom and new knowledge. Also being able to see all things, like seeing everything and then diving in. But eagles, like if I meet a lot of people with eagles, they also have a tendency that their words and their mouth can literally rip people to pieces if they're not aware of their language, because of the energy that comes behind it, right? Like one word can mean so impactful. And so that's kind of something that they, you know, are you aware of the stimulation and what you're doing, right? Because of your power, right? So discovering who you are and your gifts and your powers can bring so much clarity to why some people react certain ways, or why you have a tendency of doing things, or right?
Yeah.
So
Really
Anyway.
makes you think.
So pick a number.
7.
So if you message me 7, you will get. How much do we want to discount? Okay, this is weird. And I almost don't even want to do it, but it keeps showing up. So if you are on the show and you message me 7, you're going to get $70 off of a reading. Okay?
Wow.
So
knew it.
thank him. And thank them and all your animals supporting you, okay?
Yes.
I love you guys, and we will continue on in a further depth with this another show soon.
And we've got a show tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow. So tomorrow it's all about receiving,
Ah.
Nice.
which makes sense why we had such a big offer this time.
Yep.
It's prepping you to receive.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so tomorrow's all about receiving, and there's a couple levels to that too. And basically, if you're wanting to manifest in this world and you're wanting to have the abundance in your life, you also got to recognize where you are receiving and rejecting. Or not allowing.
No.
Yeah.
Gotta breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah, so do you
Yeah.
guys have anything you want to say before we close out?
Good show. Good show,
Yeah.
everyone.
Oh, that was fun. Well
Yeah, that
done,
was
man.
fun. I loved it. That was great.
Cool. Okay, well, we're going to end it there. I love you guys, and join us tomorrow at 555. Isn't it? Look.
It's okay.